Pandas is one of those Python libraries which is extensively used for data analysis and data manipulation. Now, there are hundreds of methods that you will see in this library, and you can't learn every one of them. So, in this video, I'll show you some of the majorly used methods and functions which are used by data analysts or data scientists to get some insights from the data. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have divided this whole tutorial into two sections. So in the first section, we'll talk about the basics behind the pandas. What are the basic structures that are available, which include the series and data frames, and how we can create those in the pandas library. In the second section, we'll look upon the important methods and operations which are available in pandas that we can leverage to better analyze the data and pre-process them to get insights from the data. Okay, so let us start with the basics section, and I'll be implementing everything in the Google Colab interface, and if you want to also follow through, you can just pause the video and start with me whenever if you want to do step by step. Okay, let's start. So before starting with the implementation, let us first import the required libraries. Alright, so since we are using pandas, let me import pandas as PD. You can use any name here, but this is the standard name that we use. Apart from it, I'll also be using NumPy, so I'll also import NumPy here. One thing to note, pandas is actually built on NumPy library. What does that mean is whenever we store any data frames or series using pandas, it is actually getting stored as NumPy array in the memory blocks. And since NumPy is implemented in C and C++ language, it makes both NumPy and pandas faster and efficient to store the data and manipulate the data in the memories. Okay, that's one important information that I'd like you to tell. Then once we have imported it, let me just compile this. Okay, so let me just see. So in pandas we have two basic structures. The first basic structure is the series, which is a one-dimensional array, and the second structure is data frame, which is a two-dimensional array. Okay, so these are the two basic structures, and let's see how we can create those structures in pandas. So let us start with the series. So I'll use pd.series method to create a series. Now since it's a one dimensional, I'll provide any values in one dimension, and then I'll just print those values. Okay, now you see it has created a series variable which has just one dimension and all the values that I've inputted, and this is the default index that it creates for every other value, so that I can fetch the data based on these index values. Okay, so this is how we can create the series. Let's see how we can create a data frame. So if I use pd.dataFrame, and now we know that a data frame is a two-dimensional vector, so I'll use two dimensions here. One is, let's say, with these random values, and the another is these random values. Okay, and then I print the data frame, and you'll see the data frame is created with a size of 2 by 4. So we have 2 rows and 4 columns. Here the row indexes and column indexes both are created as a default index values. If you want to change them, you can use index option in this dot data frame method only, and let's say we can use standard names like row 1 and row 2. Okay, so whenever I use index, it means about the row, and whenever I want to change the column headers, I can use columns option, and then I can provide the column name. So I'll just provide the simple column name so that it's easy to visualize everything. Okay, so now if I print it, see, we have our own customized index rows and column indexes. Okay, so this is one of the method how we can create a data frame in pandas. We can also use another method where we can use dictionaries directly in this pd.dataframe method. So for that, I'll just create a dictionary first. So a dictionary is a collection of key and value pairs, if you already know, And it's just like the physical dictionary that we used to have, where we have words which are the keys, and every word has a definition to it, which is the value inside this dictionary variable. Okay, so here I'll, let's say, just provide keys like, so here I'll just provide keys as the column names, because they are going to be replaced by the column header values. So for the first key, you see we have 1 comma 1 as the value. So I'll be using the same values as in the data frame 1 that we have created just now. Okay, and then we can use 5 comma 0, and then the last is 6 comma 2. Okay, so this is my dictionary, and then I can pass it on to the method. Now I'll create a new variable df2, and I'll just pass it on to df, or sorry, pd dot data frame, and then I'll pass the dictionary to it. Okay, let me print the df2 now, and we'll see that this is the new data frame that we have created using dictionaries. Now all the keys in the dictionaries are replaced in the column headers. There is nothing in the custom index, in the index row indexes that we have here. So for that, we can, what we can do is we can either just write here index and copy the values directly from here. Okay, so it will just add the index of the rows as well. So you see we have now of the index of the rows as well now. But let's say I don't want to use this method. So there is another method that we can use is, so if I just don't have this, you can see it's again reverted back. Now there is another method that I can use is dot set index method in the data frame. So what it does is I need to provide one of the keys of the dictionaries itself to set my row indexes. So for that I'll create another key under the name index. You can use any name for this key. The only thing that matters is what it contains in the values. Okay, so these are the two values that I provide. Now I just have to provide this key right here. Now if I print it, you'll see there is one difference, that the index is still under the column. And why is that so? Many of the methods in Pandas, what they do is they do not actually change anything in the original data frame. So it is one of the silly mistakes that people do is they just use these methods, and then they are confused why the applied method is not actually reflected in the original data frame. And it is because either we can so it is because this just creates a view and not update the data frame. So if I just print it right now, you'll see it is actually updated in this particular view, but in the memory block it is not updated. So what I can do is, there are two methods. So I can use directly this assignment operator, which will assign this particular values to my data frame in the memory block. Or the better option to do is to use this option, which is in place equal to true. So it will just directly replace everything in the original data frame. And if I print the original data frame, you'll see that the changes have been taken place. Okay, so this is one thing you should remember whenever you use pandas as a library. Okay, so now we have seen how we can use method 1 and method 2 to create our data frames as well. Let us see a few more functions that we can use to make our life easier. So let's see, if I just want to see the index of a particular data frame, so I can print that. I can also print if I want to see particular column indexes, then you can use dot columns. So it will give you what indexes you have provided for the rows and the columns as well. Now there is another function if you want to transpose the whole data frame. So if you would already know, the transpose is just nothing but interchanging of rows with columns and columns with rows. So this is the transpose that we can also do. Then there are two more methods that you could know, is the sort index. So what it will do is it will sort the table according to the row or column index. Okay, so if I use x is equal to 0, which is the default function,
it will sort the table according to the rows, and if I do x is equal to 1, it will sort according to the columns. So let's see its effect. So I have sorted according to the row in the ascending order. So by default is ascending, and if you want to turn that off, you can use ascending equal to false. Now if you see, the rows are interchanged, so now rows are in descending order. And similarly you can also do the same with the columns. Okay, so now you can see the columns are interchanged and reversed. Then the last method that I would like to show you in this section is dot sort values, which is also one of the important methods that we need whenever we want to sort all the values in the table up with respect to a particular column. Okay, so let's say I want to sort values based on column 2. Okay, so this is column 2, and again you have to use by equal to then the name of the column, and then if you run this, you'll see the column 2 has been updated in the ascending order, which is already in the default case, so we didn't see any change. I can just do this and we'll see the order has been changed to 9 and 3, and all the other values have also been changed with respect to this particular column. So this is the basic methods that I wanted to show you, how we can create series and data frames. With different methods we can create data frames using dictionaries as well. Then some of the basic commands that you should know about. So those were some of the few basic things that I wanted to show you related to pandas in Python. If you find this video helpful, please hit that like button and do subscribe, because my next video will be a follow-up video where I'll be showing some of the most important methods in pandas for any data analysis project. If that video is already published, you can find that video somewhere on the screen right now, and I'll see you right there. And as always, thank you for watching.